be here, so.
Yeah.
Robert said you
Are
know.
you? Oh, you, okay. Let's think you
What are
said.
we gonna do with Catherine?
Should have about 20 seconds. Delay.
Testing.
No, you said you're gonna-
He said,
You're gonna get to do it. Oh, I like that.
Voluntold.
On the delay, you're walking over right now. You.
You can hear it.
Is he over waiting for?
Hey, Jason. You may raise a little bit. That's on the master.
Are we ready, Jason? Is that what I'm asking?
I'm sorry.
Are we ready? I mean, this is ready.
Yes.
Okay, we're live.
Yes, we are.
Please bear with me this evening, people. Julie, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. John Bartlesmeyer,
Here.
Jim Hewens,
Here.
Dave Elliott,
Here.
Kirk Hart,
Here.
Bill Meyer, Robert Nelson.
Here. Would you stand with me for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have no comments tonight from the chairs. Anybody else have any comments? Outside? Okay. Pardon?
Just a quick one.
Yes.
The Garden Park celebration went very well attended. and, Everybody did a great job, I think.
And it does just seem to grow bigger and bigger every year. So I think that's a fantastic thing. I didn't get to participate this year, but Cindy did, and she enjoyed it. Perkins Recognition.
Do this. Darlene, will you join me? So a few years, with Darlene retiring this year, the state wanted to recognize her for all the work she has done at that level for Perkins. As we know, Perkins is an operating grant that gives us about between 100,000 and 100 and where are we at this year? 160, about $160,000 a year to supplement technical education. I didn't say supplement technical education for professional development, equipment, resources, and that sort of thing. And over the past 30 plus years, Darlene has picked up several new responsibilities. One of those, how long have you been doing Perkins? 2009. Okay, so for 13 years, she has been in charge of all of our Perkins grants. She also is in charge of Pitt State's Perkins funding as well. So as part of our cooperative agreement with them. And this year, the Board of Regents recognized Darlene for the 2021 Perkins Grant Excellence Award. Well overdue, but extremely well deserved. She does a great job. She is retiring at the end of this year, and we're going to miss her tremendously. But she absolutely has earned this award over and over again and is a resource throughout the state for every institution that has Perkins funding. They call on her and look for advice, mentorship, and she does a great job with it and definitely has earned this award. So we'll present her with her flag. Oh, I have to give
It's like a link. They're going to present it to her at the Workforce Development Conference in front of everybody, and Darlene was scheduled to go. She always goes to the conference, but something came up. And she wasn't able to.
Darlene, can't you tell us all about it? Everything you do.
I don't think we have enough time.
Yeah.
Well, we all appreciate it. And I know I've heard countless times your knowledge on this, the Perkins grant is just very extensive. And obviously, since you've been recognized like this, and especially you help out Pitt State, I think you've done a fantastic job, and we will miss you. I know we will.
She says she's retiring.
Well, maybe we could coerce her or something.
We accepted that, yeah.
Hey, that's right.
Isn't that a gorgeous session?
That could be.
Yeah.
Maybe we can work that in. Okay, thanks again, Darlene. The consent agenda, approval of the agenda, approval of minutes of previous meetings attached to the minutes of the regular board meeting conducted on September 20th, 2021. Approval of treasurer report, bills and claims attached to the treasurer's report and bills and claims report. Approval of personnel actions. Additions, Connor Chadwell, head athletic trainer, effective September 23rd, 2021. Tanya Umfenauer, cosmetology instructor, effective October 4, 2021. Veronica Snow, camp academic student support coordinator, effective October 18, 2021. Deborah Stedman, resident hall housekeeper, effective October 18, 2021. Separations, Courtney Goucher, cosmetology instructor, effective September 20, 2021. Transfer, Santos Manrique, HEP instructional coordinator, effective October 1st, 2021. Parentheses, retaining associate dean responsibilities. Exactly what does that mean?
Santos's current position was associate dean of the Crawford County campus, essentially.
Mhm.
So what has happened over the last couple of years is when the qualified admissions program has ceased to exist, it reduced his amount of responsibilities there. He takes care of Harley, our health professions, and any cosmetology, yes, and assist Chris with some of the C-Tech stuff when he needs to. And then different high school, he works with the different high schools in Crawford County.
Mhm.
So what we've done is kept him with those responsibilities and added this one. So
Okay.
he is an extremely strong advocate for us in Crawford County and does a very nice job from a public relations standpoint, getting out in the community, meeting people, keeping good relationships with all the institutions. Him in combination with Chris Mingarelli do a really nice job down there.
Well, I know Santos, and he is just really a nice outgoing person, and I think he does, from what I've heard, a really good job. So, okay. It's recommended that the consent agenda items be approved as presented. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Julie, would you call a vote, please?
Hewens,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Meyer, Nelson,
Yes.
Bartlesmeyer.
Yes. Now, can somebody give me a page number? Is it
60.
60? Here we go. Item A, consideration of baseball and softball turf financing bids. The contract has been approved for turf fields for the baseball and softball fields. Proposals for financing the turf fields are attached. Beth Warren from Ranson Financial will be present to discuss the timeline and certificate of participation that would be offered for bids. Also attached is the proposal for financing from First Security Finance, who works with our turf contractor, Mid-America Sports Contracting. Is this Beth?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. Tom, yeah, please come up, but Tom Havron will be here. He had something he had to do, and so hopefully he'll be here, but I think Beth can certainly go ahead and do her.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm here to go over the financing options tonight to be able to finance that project. So as you already hinted at, there has been a proposal from First Security Finance to finance that. That's who you're currently working with. Their quote was a 3.15 interest rate for 10 years, which equates to roughly a monthly payment of just over $170,000. Based on the bond market, and if we do a lease purchase like we've typically done in the past with you guys, right now we're estimating an interest rate of roughly 1.20. which equates to monthly payments of roughly $155,000. So tonight, before you, there are documents to be able to move forward with the public option if you wish. We can take bids if rates come in higher than we've estimated and or above what First Security's rate is. You can vote not to proceed on the public issue and just go with the proposal from First Security. If rates come in lower, like we're estimating, you can vote to proceed with that and move forward with those rates and lock those in. So in your packet, you have the first page should be just that estimated payment schedule based off the public option, which has that 120, shows the estimated annual payment of 155. That includes the annual trustee fee of 2,500. The second page should be a rough timeline of moving forward. So tonight we would call for the sale of those certificates. The sale would actually take place the morning of your next the next meeting in November. November 15th is what we currently have scheduled for that sale. We'd come back with results of that sale. And then that night you would vote whether you want to proceed with the public option or go back and revert to First Security based on the bid. If you move forward with the public option, the new issue would close December 15th. That's when you would receive all your funds to be able to move forward with that. So any questions on that?
Not yet.
Not yet. The last several pages that were included in your packet is just that proposal from First Security. And they gave a couple different options as far as scenarios for length of the financing term. And we just did the 10-year apples to apples comparison for repayment.
So at this point, we would be just committing to call for the sale of certificates,
Correct.
but not necessarily accepting anything until we see what comes. in. Do
Correct.
I get that?
Yes.
I think it's just if you guys go ahead and say, okay, let's see what they would come in at.
Right.
Right now, it looks like the payments would actually be higher for the public option, right?
No, the 315 is the private
Oh, okay.
financing option through First Security. The public is estimated right now to be the 120, but
Okay,
obviously rates change from day to day, so we won't know exactly what that will be till sale day. And they are ticking up right now, so it's just a matter of how much they end up moving up by that sale day, if they end up at or below that 350.
and so then at the November meeting, you would go out for sale between now and then, and they would know at the November meeting whether we should go with the public COP or go with First Security, or we
Yeah.
at least have a better idea for you guys to vote on. Is that where we're
Yes.
at?
Yes, at the November meeting, we would know exactly what the rates would be on the public option. So at that point, you would either vote to proceed with that one if it's lower, or we can revert back to the private one that you already have an exact quote for.
So these are basically proposals, or this is a proposal at this.
This
time?
is estimates of what we
Estimate.
think
Okay,
the public option could come in at.
okay.
Tom, do you have anything that
Yeah,
this is the
Tom.
financing? The financing of the turf,
That's okay.
financing of the turf, if you,
Okay. Yeah, really what we're looking at, 10 years, now that is a big number, in front of you, but last meeting, we went over just the savings that we'll have based on the fields and the amount that baseball and softball for this, and so about $97,000 of that is already made up. Okay, so it would be a savings for the year and a fundraising project for the year.
It's on page
Which would
61.
be around 60,000 per year, which we're anticipating will be made up by mostly through the generation of our tournaments that we have during the summer out there. And so we don't know exactly what that number is as far as how much revenue that will bring. But it'll be a continuous fundraising project and will certainly bring in income as the 10 years goes on. And then at the end of 10 years, when you're done paying on the 1.4 million, then everything that you get is revenue generation that saves us money and makes us money that we can spread around other sports and all that.
This is, go ahead, Jim.
But is it right, the longevity of the turf is about 10 years?
It's 12 to 14. And so in our field was 10 when the practice field, and it's on 12 right now. And so if you take care of these types of fields, they will last for a long time. And we've got 2 coaches currently, and John will be here until we tell him that he's no longer needed. And that won't be for a long time, and he will take meticulous care of that turf. He's been wanting this his whole career. And Kaylani Bryan is our softball coach, and she will be very involved with taking care of the softball field. And I have zero, if I was to put faith in 2 people on campus to be able to take care of something nice like this to give us the longevity of the turf, they would certainly be it.
This is just an off the wall question, but in table 1, it says Garden City Community College.
I think that's a typo. That Garden City rates were used as estimates for
Okay,
that
I
schedule.
just wanted to know. Okay.
There are
So tell me.
enemies.
No.
Sorry.
We thought it was a typo, but I didn't know, so.
So we're talking about baseball and softball.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep, the project is full baseball field, which would get rid of all of the field maintenance budget with the exception of a small amount that we will need to upkeep the turf. And for example, we pay a company to come in and refurbish the football field every July. And they come in and just groom it and make sure that the testing on all of it is what it needs to be for a high impact sport like football. Baseball won't need that, but we'll certainly, to be able to expand the life of the turf, you certainly want to make sure that you are getting at least a yearly service on it.
Because we started to look at some diagrams.
Yeah.
On some of the, so.
Yes, both of the fields will be full turf, which is going to be huge for us in the community,
Yeah.
to be able to have two turf fields, 1 full turf within this town will just help out the tournaments that much more that are already here.
I think somebody brought up the fact about maybe extending the practice football field to the full length. Is that?
We're looking at that. That's something that will be a future project. It's not included in this.
I didn't think it was, but I know it came up that somebody brought it up. Maybe.
Yeah, I would love to be able to do that because you don't play on an 80-yard field.
Yeah. Yeah, that was strange, but okay. Okay, so really, this is just for ideas of how this may work.
Mhm.
And the next meeting, I think I saw that it would be, that's when we would probably vote on going one way or the other as far as.
As far as the actual rates go, yes,
Right.
we'll have final information at that meeting to know exactly which way would be better for the college to move forward.
Okay, all right. And Tom, you agree with all this?
Yeah.
This is the way to go?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
There's-
Oh.
Approval to go forward. with
We do?
Yeah.
This is for the sale.
Sale of, or offering for sale.
So what she just said.
Second.
Well, I was looking for that.
It says at the bottom.
Is that on here?
Yes.
Page 6.
Page 60, recommend that the board call for the sale of certificate.
Oh, okay, thank you. I found it. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Would you call for the vote, Julie?
Elliott,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Meyer, Nelson,
Yes.
Bartlesmeyer,
Yes,
Hewens.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's item B. Consideration of weight room equipment bids. We've begun moving forward with the equipment purchases for the weight facility at 16 South Hill. The items below are to begin renovation and the weight training center. Weight room weights and equipment. In July, a PO was processed for dynamic fitness and strength. Thank you for coming. Okay, in July, a PO was processed for dynamic fitness and strength for $168,483.60. The total invoices for the weight room are $185,780.35. Bids were requested and received from the following vendors and their amounts respectively. Dynamic Fitness and Strength, $185,780.36. Sorinex Exercise Equipment, $109,453.37. Powerlift, $185,709.08. The bids covered a wide variety of equipment to fully stock a weight room to the dimensions of the building donated to Fort Scott Community College on Hill Street. The variance in total amount cost of the bids is mainly due to product quality and quantity of machines. The bids from Dynamic Fitness and Strength will provide the college top quality equipment to fill the space for years to come. The increase in price from the PO from July is due to increase in pricing of supplies and shipping. Administration recommends the approval of Dynamic Fitness and Strength for our weight room equipment. Any questions? There's a lot of stuff here.
There is.
So we've already done the PO for the equipment.
Correct. Yep.
At $168,000 and change.
Correct. When we did that, metal prices were lower than what they are now.
Gotcha.
And the only difference between what the PO was to what the current cost is shipping, because it's difficult to ship, and the price of metal.
So we did the PO to secure a positioning line to get
Correct.
the equipment.
Yep.
And then as things have progressed, the
Yep.
costs have increased to the 185,000.
And what Adam's bringing up is a presentation on what this stuff is going to look like. We've been very happy with the look of everything. The company that we're working with is fantastic. They are certainly known across the region to have very high quality stuff. They are now that Sorinex, which is the lowest bid on there. Their stuff per, what do you want to say, per unit is more expensive than the stuff that we're getting. And there's not much of a difference between the breakdown of stuff. It's just simply, the brand difference. And so the Sorinex is a lower bid overall on what you guys are looking at because it has significantly less equipment. And so what you see up there is essentially what a lot of this stuff is going to look like. It will definitely give us everything that we need, not only to furnish a full service weight room for all of our sports, but also give us quite an attractive look for the inside of this building. And this stuff will last for 30 years. This is not something that we will, in our time here, be going back to look at it, able to do it again. It'll be in there until somebody wants to move it. The installation, the company comes in, puts all the stuff together, and it fastens it to the floor. And it's a pretty heavy duty. These are heavy duty sets of equipment, and will, it's nothing that we will need to be breaking. It'll last for the length.
Do they have warranties on this equipment at
Yes,
all? Or?
I had the guy ready to talk about it, but it is a 25-year warranty.
Oh,
on
wow.
the stuff.
And that's sort of like what it's gonna look like.
Yep, that'll be the layout of the weight rooms, just slightly modified, because
Because
we,
space.
yeah, we've got some stuff. You can see the garage door at the top end there, in the open space on the bottom right of that picture is the other garage door. There will be a space in between there where they're on the right wall where there's a training room, and also the hallway that'll go into the other building. And there'll be bathrooms that fit in between those as well, a walkway to the bathrooms. And so when you walk into the complex, that should be the layout of the building. That's how all the equipment fits in there, which we're very happy with the space to be able to get all this stuff.
Is there any kind of like heating and air and things like that, or?
Yeah, we're working on being able to, well, that's all part of the contract for the Hill Street. And so heating is going in there, a new unit, and they're have some louvers that are being put in to be able to pull air to get good ventilation.
Like fan, you mean,
throughout
what'd you say, an Uber?
Louver.
Luber,
Yeah.
okay.
And Jim, you probably know more about this type of stuff than what I do, but it essentially will pull air in from the bottom on the outside of the building, pull air in and go out the top of the other side to get a cross.
For ventilation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not air conditioned.
Okay, well, I didn't know. Okay.
So Tom, you say this Sornex,
Mhm.
the difference in price is that Sornex doesn't offer.
They just weren't able to, be able to get us as much equipment is what
So it's
we're
not
looking at.
really comparing
It's not a
apples to
compare.
apples.
No, it's not. It's less racks. I believe this one is 16 racks in that one. No, 18 racks in this one. Sornex was only able to fit 14 in there. And I think a lot of that has to do with just how their equipment is built. You know, it only like trying to fit a compact car into or a truck into a compact space, essentially.
I think we're finding the accessibility to this type of equipment is kind of tough. Right now, it's just like everything else, getting the
Yeah.
equipment in. We're having quite a problem with certain things.
Right, yep, and we've obviously been working with multiple companies for almost a year now. And so they were really saying it's time to get on this if you guys are looking to get it in, when you're hoping to get it in January.
Well, timeline, that's what I was gonna say.
The contractors gave us the 23rd of January as kind of a tentative opening of the facility. We hope that it would be a couple weeks earlier to match up with the start of school. And I've got multiple things that are ready to be able to go in the building that are not included in the contracted bid starting July or January 1st.
Well, is any of the equipment we have now?
We're still gonna have this one over here, this weight room over here, and we'll leave most of the stuff over here.
Oh,
Because, I mean, it doesn't make sense for volleyball and the basketballs to go all the way over there. Because their locker rooms right here, their practice right here. And so we will still keep this one. And so we will have 2 weight rooms. And it'll give us an opportunity to open up this one to other students that are not athletes on campus.
so it'll just be more accessible to more
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because you're gonna be splitting the people up.
Yes.
Some-
Right now, what we have is at 5 o'clock, football goes in at AM, 5 o'clock, and the last team gets out of there at 9 PM. And there is not a 2-hour window where anyone else has access to that facility just because there's people in there all the time. And on top of that, we also have football. Baseball's got that in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so football goes over to the high school and is using their weight room right now. And so we are in such a compact area to be able to run teams of 100+ through that football and track need that facility for 4 hours a day, just because of the space to be able to run multiple kids through. This will give us the opportunity to do that in much more efficient time. And also, since I've been here, not being able to have a weight room accessible to other students that are not athletes has been not an issue, but it's certainly a service that I think that we should be able to provide. And we have not been able to do that simply because of staffing, and we just don't have anyone, there's no time to be able to do it. And so this weight room on campus will have certain hours of the day that we can open it up for students to be able to use that are not with the sport.
So we are currently, some people are using the high school facility.
Our football team uses it on Tuesday, Thursdays. They go in at 4:45 in the morning and are out of there by 6:30.
So if the high school, something happened and they wanted to use our
Absolutely.
facility sometime, then
Yep, we anticipate that this is going to be a resource. This building and the other building will be a resource for the community.
community, not
Yeah.
just the college. But that's kind of what I was getting at. I think it's a good idea. I mean,
Especially the other side, because we're gonna have batting cages and turf in the other side of the building that, there's that type of space is premium in this community, just because there isn't places where little league teams can go and play. If they don't have John Hill as a coach when they're 8 years old, they don't have batting cages that they can go to. And so we have football teams. I have 3 football teams practicing every single day of the week outside of Friday on our practice turf field. And that's because it's something that we can provide to them. There isn't anything currently like that for baseball when the weather gets bad.
Excellent. Okay. Any, Dave?
I'm just slightly confused.
Okay.
But it's just me. So did we already make a commitment to dynamic fitness and strength when we issued the
Julie?
They have not received the
No.
deal this whole time. No.
Okay, okay.
We were needing to encumber it before fiscal year.
Okay,
I was gonna say, I think it's just an encumberment.
Yep.
Yeah.
But since it was encumbered, it went up in price.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Any more discussion or question? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Julie, would you call the vote, please?
Hart,
Yes.
Meyer, Nelson,
Yes.
Bartlesmeyer,
Yes.
Hewens,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Letters and correspondence?
I like the one from Byron Fry.
Yeah.
Thank you for noting the male style review trophies. That sounds kind of.
Yeah, I
saw
saw that.
I wondered about that.
I did too. That was cute. Anyway, of course, that was during the fair,
Fair.
and they have their style review at the Fine Arts Center. So I thought that was cute. I just got tickled. It was like the male style review.
Yeah.
Like a Chippendales
I was just gonna say, you mean like the chip?
What exactly does this trophy look like?
Anyway.
Okay. Administrative, oh, sorry.
Oh, well, there are three
Oh,
thank
more
yous
letters.
there from Tyrell Williams' mother and brother, who was our young student athlete that passed away on August 20. And then it gets to reports.
Yes.
So I would just quickly, the grants update is there, so if you have any questions at all about the grants, of course, Ralph provides that for us. He works with the grants. Some of them have been implemented. You can see there the second one that was implemented during the Gordon Parks celebration just recently, and that's where they actually do a live tour of the Learning Tree sites, where they actually film the different Learning Tree sites here. There's another one for Humanities Kansas. Some of them are small, but still beneficial and do a lot and help us, of course, in terms of doing some things that otherwise we wouldn't be able to do without that kind of soft money. The Nursing Initiative Grant, we typically do get that grant, but we did get that first cycle of money. Some of these grants like that one are dollar-to-dollar matches, and so we do have to come up with matches for them. I don't see that one on there, but oh, there it is, the Fort Scott Foundation. We haven't heard, but we did submit a grant to the local Fort Scott Community Foundation to do a hydration station, which is just where you can fill a bottle of water on our trail out here. So it would be just kind of directly north of the administration building is where it would be. So if that's funded, what we will donate, of course, is to put the labor to put it in, run the line and provide the water. Do you want to start, Janet? Since you're-
I don't have many things to add. I just wanted to point out a couple of dates. We are going to have a senior day event on campus on November the 12th. So we're excited to bring high school seniors to campus and be able to show them around and show us what we have to offer. So Brian and the admissions group is working on getting that planned. We have also scheduled Breakfast with Santa again this year. So that's scheduled for December the 4th. And again, the admissions office kind of takes care of that and gets everything pulled together. So I was glad that we were able to have some things on campus again. We're gearing up for enrollment as Adam's office and Julie's office have been working to get the schedule ready so we can start enrolling students for spring classes. So hopefully later this week, we'll get that started. I also wanted to mention a couple of things that the TRIO office has done, the TRIO group. They took students to a leadership conference in Kansas City, and it's the MoKanny, which is Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska group. And those students were able to listen to some keynote speakers, and they have breakout sessions for students to do some networking. It's kind of nice for our students to, because it's 2-year and 4-year colleges. And so it's nice for our students to have an opportunity to network with some of those students and get to know them and hear some of their stories and their backgrounds. One of the things that the conference did, they took the entire group, not just our students, but the entire group to Worlds of Fun Friday night. And then they also took them axe throwing, which concerned me just a little bit on Saturday night. But I guess that's a team building something. I don't know. I didn't ask. But that was really nice. Again, that's something we haven't been able to do for a few years. So it was nice for students to be able to do that.
I mean, throw the axes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, well, not necessarily that, but the conference,
Okay.
so hopefully, everybody came back all in one piece. So we didn't
Good.
lose any students or limbs. So that was a good thing. Just a note too about, John had asked about Santos with the HEP program. He's taken on that instructional piece for us with the HEP program. Santos worked for the HEP program several years ago. And so having it requires a bilingual person to fill that position. And he's very good at communicating with those families and recruiting students and then even recruiting students as they finish their high school equivalency to then maybe come to our Harley program or our HVAC program or working with them in that way too. So I was really pleased that he was able to take that on and willing to take that on. He was excited to hit the road and get out there and start talking to folks. The other thing that TRIO that I forgot to mention is doing, they are bringing in a guest speaker in November. November the 8th, I believe, is November the 8th. They're celebrating first generation college students. And so they have brought in a rather pricey guest speaker, and I don't know who it is, but I know they even wrote an extra grant to try to help pay for some of the cost. But they're bringing in a guest speaker and it will be open to all students on campus to attend and listen to this speaker on being a successful first generation student and some of the hurdles that entails, just because they don't have that support at home to help them navigate through college. So those are some nice things that are going on. We're just happy to have TRIO bringing those things to campus and providing it for any student that is able to attend on that day. And I asked today, I believe we're going to have it over in the Ellis building, so that hopefully we'll have some instructors letting students come to them. That's all I have. Any questions I can try to answer?
That's not, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
All right. I think you and I should go axe throwing.
Depends on what rules I can have.
I think where you stand.
No, I was thinking I'm more used to it, but okay.
Kind of.
HR problem.
She's learned to tune it out. It's not her day.
So just a quick couple of updates. Math relays went really well. Had 297 students from 18 high schools today participate in math relays. And I know Kathy was extremely grateful of all the help that she received. And that's always a very positive event for us. And so That went well today. Schedule will be available for enrollment on Wednesday. I believe. That's- Oh, no, it's gonna be ready.
Thank
It's-
you.
We're good to go. So Wednesday, start enrolling for fall and next summer. One other item, just to quickly touch on, Susie has put together a book club for the library. And right now they're reading the book, The Other Westmore. And on that, at the end of that reading, we have about a month to read it. And there's several people involved in it. If you haven't read the book, it's a great one. A few years ago at the HLC conference, Westmore, who was the author of the book, was one of the keynote speakers. And ever since then, it's been one of those books I've wanted to read, never had the time, but Susie has put this together, these readings, and after the next month, she has a speaker coming in that she is scheduling about talking about cultural diversity and things like that, and the choices you make in your life, how they impact others. And that's just one of the things that we don't highlight very often that we kind of do. And, I always forget that, hey, we're doing this, bring it up at some point. But she does a great job in the library doing these types of activities. There are several faculty and staff that are participating, and we also have a couple of students who are participating in this book. She wrote a grant to get the books and was able to purchase the books with a small grant she wrote through the Southeast Kansas Library System, and has been having some good luck with that. They started this past year with Choice of Weapons as their book, and finished that up kind of correlating with the Gordon Park celebration, and now they've moved on to The Other Westmore. So great job that she does. And the next month, I believe I will have Sonia and Susie here to talk about what we're doing in the world of assessment. So that's just kind of a short presentation about what we've been doing over the last couple of years, because of the level of importance that has with our institution from an accreditation perspective as well. That is my update.
Thank you. Business office, finance, that type of thing. Of course, refunds every week, processing financial aid or pulling it over and locking it on the student's account. We did update your enrollment stuff, Janet and Adam today, so that's all done, and all our piece is done, I believe. So you should be on track. Auditors are here this week and next week. Well, rolling along good today so far, so we're gonna plan that for the rest of the next 2 weeks. Far as maintenance, they have a few projects planned for semester break where the students are gone, so they can do, I think they're doing a water softener in the kitchen that needs to be replaced, and a couple other things in there while students are gone. They are, as Jared tells me, 95% done at Garrison. They're basically waiting on 3 sprinkler heads and the fire marshal to come in and approve what we've done. So we're really close to moving those students. As Tom will probably say, good, but that's what he tells us, 95% in it. Yeah. They've done really well, basically been done with their piece for several weeks, I would say now, and they've just been waiting on contractors and parts like everything else. I think that's pretty much it. Just kind of rolling along, doing our normal thing. Financial aid is trying to get with students about their completing FAFSA and that type of thing and their HERF money. So that's kind of their project right now. That's pretty much it.
Thanks, Sean. Tom, you back there? You're supposed to sit here.
Yeah, no, wait a second. Happy to report that we have 0 cases on campus right now, or quarantine in the dorms as well. I think Janet mentioned today at our meeting that we only have 1
I
off
have 2
campus.
now. I got a new one today.
Oh, boy. And so we are happy about that. Fall sports are winding down, getting to the end of their season and their postseasons, and winter sports are just getting ready to start up. And so basketball has been scrimmaging the last couple of weeks. And so we're looking forward to starting those as football and volleyball and cross country wind down. But we're still full in the dorms, which is great, considering this time of the year. A lot of times we see after withdrawal time that we have a lot of open rooms and we don't have any. And so that's a good thing. I think our retention this year on campus, this fall on campus has been great. That's all I got.
Thank you.
I think that's everybody but me. Thank you as usual. I think it's been a really good month. Kirk always does an amazing job with the Gordon Park celebration. And as John said, that continues to grow. I appreciate the help that he gets from everybody, including his Gordon Parks board. And I know that they all work very diligently to make sure that that celebration is really top notch and also relays what Gordon Parks himself would like to relay in terms of equity, diversity, and inclusion. And that's a very important part of our mission as well. The Adam, Chris Mingarelli, Jacob Riker, and Darlene, who was supposed to get her her award in front of everybody, but Darlene was able to go, but went to the Wichita to the Workforce Development Conference, which was a good conference. We were pleased to go. And that money is money from Perkins that we use to fund those activities, those types of professional development activities. From Wichita, we went on out to Tucson. When I say we, it was Adam, Chris Mingarelli, and myself. They presented and let me tag along with them to present on basically what we do at the Crawford Tech Ed Center to work across sectors, to include business and industry, school districts, and to make sure that we're using all of our stakeholders to make that successful for the students and also to try to fill the skills gap that we have. What we find is, and my only addition to the presentation was, you hire good people and you can get that done. And that's certainly the case with Chris and Adam. And it is a really neat model. And I'm hoping that we can meet down there soon so you guys can see the Crawford Tech Ed Center, because some of you have not had the opportunity to do so. We did have the superintendents from Lynn County tour down there a couple of months ago, and they were very impressed with the Crawford Tech Ed Center and the model. Of course, a little bit different in terms of the resources down there. The building was originally given by the Bicknell family, so that was $1 million donation. And also for a while, we had $250,000 that Crawford County gave us to support that technical center down there. Now, once that went away, the Kansas Crossing Casino gives the Crawford Tech Ed Center, they guarantee us $400,000 a year for 5 years, and or 1% of their gross or their net, 1% of their net, whichever's higher, for 5 years. And it works out to be about $500,000 a year. Now, that doesn't go to the college, it goes to the LLC, which we formed 3 years ago. And the LLC includes school districts, us, county commission, city commission, business and industry, as well as the Chamber of Commerce. I'm probably missing what, and Pitt State is also sits on the board down there. But it is a nice model and really does reflect working across the sectors to be able to get it done. So very pleased with that. It was very well attended in terms of the presentation. Phi Theta Kappa, we did have the induction here last Friday afternoon and inducted some members. Susie does an amazing job with that. Math relays, you know, that is such a unique thing. I've never experienced that until I came up here. And Kathy Malone and many of the faculty and staff that we have helped make that happen. As a matter of fact, Robert donated his time today and helped out. He said he did all the grading and told everybody, get back, I'll do trigonometry. But anyway, we do appreciate greatly you do that. That's just amazing, I think, opportunity, and we greatly appreciate her efforts and the efforts of everybody. I honestly don't know exactly how the kids fair went this Saturday. Cassie has been out, but hopefully
They said it was really well. I talked to someone today. She said it was really well attended. They went through all their hot dogs before 11 a.m. and said that they had a ton of people. So she was very pleased. Somebody was very pleased. She was.
Good, it was a beautiful day for sure.
Yeah.
And then on the 23rd, we will have our alumni rodeo, the Dan Vanderwinkle rodeo. It is just a one-day event, and I think they have they at 1 o'clock and 7:30, I think. Is that right, Julie? I believe that's right. Julie in the business office.
I was thinking there was only 7:30. And it was
I'm
Friday
probably
night
wrong.
slack, I'm not sure.
I thought they were running
Friday
Slack.
nights, Friday
Friday
slack.
night Slack.
That's what I heard on the radio.
Yeah, and I think that's a donation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sign right outside the door.
Yeah.
Julie and her business office people, you probably don't know this, but they stay very late on Saturday night and write checks to all the winners. And so that means they may be there till literally 1 o'clock in the morning. Julie's like, but they have to get the contestants their winnings, and the contestants have to get us their W-9, which Julie said sometimes is difficult to do.
Slack is at 1 on Saturday.
Oh,
Friday.
Sorry.
oh, good.
I think the 1 o'clock set, I know they're taking donations for Slack, but you don't have to, they don't charge to get in. Slack for you non-rodeo people is just the people, they draw names to see who gets to be in the main event. They still compete, but so if you only can have, 16 ropers at 7:30, because that's all the time you have, but you have 30 team ropers and everybody else has to rope in Slack, but they still compete exactly the same for the winnings, so. That's all Slack means. You probably knew that anyway. Did
Oh.
you know that?
I'm intimately involved. Slack means you got a little bit extra.
Slack's what you were doing when you pinched that nerve.
Oh, probably.
So, but yeah, it's always a great event as well, and appreciate Julie and her group getting all that money out to the contestants. It's a lot of money to run through, and it's a whole lot of work to sit there and get that all done. So I did have just in here for kind of interest purposes, you probably saw that. This is the Kansas Board of Regents 20th day roster. It's Adam's favorite one.
Scott Smathers called it the most useless report that the Board of Regents requires.
It does reflect the numbers historically at that time. And it, like I said, you can see from the numbers, it has the 1-year change and the 5-year change. So it has the numbers in there from 2016. I wish we were doing better, I guess comparatively,
We're not doing
we're
that.
okay, but it has been a struggle. I can tell you that declining enrollment is something that we really do focus on and think about in terms of how to do that. As you know, we're inversely related to the economy, and so when you can get a job, a lot of times you're less likely to enroll, especially in our certificate and applied science programs. But it just kind of gives you a little bit of a snapshot. And since it was just one big report, I went ahead and included the universities and everything that was in there. So just something to kind of take a look at. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to stand for questions.
If there are none, does anybody else have anything they want to?
It does show that 5-year change is -9, but compared to the others, we're not so bad.
I
Yeah,
tell you
that's-
that 2020 hit us hard though, and actually at the Crawford Tech Ed Center, we were down 24%, I think, down there. And that was because we served 6 high schools down there.
And they didn't want their kids. to-
And yeah, they couldn't even get their own schedule, let alone try to figure out how to get us
Right.
students. So I feel for these school districts. I mean, it's been hard. The COVID year's been hard for us. It's been immensely hard, I think, for school districts to manage that. So.
But some of these colleges are really down. You're talking 20%.
Yeah, and now
Well-
a lot of them are like us. They will have late start classes. It just kind of depends on how many you have. It's reflective of, it's a snapshot is what it is of that 20th day. But, and everybody serves a little bit different population of people, and they have a different mix of what we would consider sort of academic and technical courses, and that plays a role in it as well. You can see that if you look up at the universities in some areas, they are down less than we are, but what we've been reading is that 2020 affected the population of students that attends community college at a much more disproportionate rate than it did the population of students that attend the university, especially when you're talking about that first generation group of students, which we get a lot of. So it's been hard on community colleges. You can see that the universities are also struggling. So.
Well, and don't we have some competition at the CTech programs with companies that will go ahead and hire somebody and teach them like on the job?
We're seeing, we're seeing a shift, I think, in sort of higher education. Whose job is it really to train the workforce? Is it up to the business and the industry to train that workforce? Is it a more efficient and streamlined if they do it? And so you see sort of those paths to that. As we know, that's kind of the direction trucking went, where the companies themselves, they train those people. And we're starting to see that more and more. And of course, one of the reasons is it's driven by the fact that we do have a workforce shortage. And so like Dave, I'm sure can tell you, as opposed to, send somebody, let's say, to get a certificate, even if it was a forklift certificate, and spend 8 weeks or 16 weeks getting that, they might set up their own little forklift, training center where they would do that. And so what we're seeing is, I think, all over higher education, a shift in terms of whose responsibility is it to train these people? Is it the responsibility of higher ed, or is it, I don't mean responsibility so much, but is that the direction we're going to go? We're seeing more and more diversity in terms of who trains. You'll see, I just saw over at Joplin where you'll see these little pop-up training centers where they're training those folks and getting them their certificates without credit hours attached to it. I can tell you that one of the things, and I'm glad you asked that question, that Adam and I have talked a lot about, and one of the things that we focused on when we went to Tucson was to go to a lot of sessions that talk about training that does not have credit hours attached to it. So it's B&I, so business and industry training. So if Peerless came to us and said, I need this training, one of the things that we need to be is more flexible, and we need to be able to more quickly get you what you need. But we're education, and sometimes, especially if it's credit hours, it takes us 3 weeks to blow our nose. And so how can we be more responsive to your needs? And the way to do that is to do it not for credit, just training. So we don't have to jump through all the steps of what it takes for the accreditors and for the Kansas Board of Regents. The trouble, though, that we have with that is, how do we figure out the funding stream on that? Because it's not free, so somebody's got to pay for it. So how do we get, how do we come up with a fair price and be able to do that? So.
A couple of years ago, before we got into the pandemic, we were in discussions with Wolf Creek and talking about HVAC training for their personnel.
Who's going to be retiring? You mean when they close it down, or is that what you mean? Or what?
Well,
The new.
so
I know.
Wolf Creek, the nuclear power plant over at Burlington.
Okay, well,
Oh, are you thinking, okay.
I thought they were going to mothball that at some certain time. Sure.
I think that's how those power plants all go. But they were talking to us about, they needed somebody to come in to spend 8 to 14 days, intense training, 8 hours a day with their HVAC individuals on their cooling systems. We don't have anybody that had a nuclear certification. They were okay with that, but we were in those preliminary discussions with them to the point of drafting numbers. And the power plant itself would have written the check to the institution rather than each individual employee. And so it's kind of using that model, and we're going, as we go into the future, the next few years, that's going to have to be something of more focus, is that business and industry, non-credit training. Johnson County does a good job of it with all of their non-credit side. But so that's a model we can look at. We just have to scale it.
Like they do BN, don't they, or BNSF?
Yes, yeah, that's their big one.
Yeah.
It is BNSF, but BNSF has a deep pocket. to
Oh,
pay
sure.
For that.
But that's what you're talking about.
Yes, that exact. type.
Where the school works with the company itself or whatever to set up or run the programs, do the program.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then we don't have quite as many hoops to jump through.
Right.
And we can train people a lot
Quicker. Yeah, so,
We
okay.
need to be more responsive, especially to our local business and industry that pay taxes. Like, how can we get your folks trained for you in a quick manner and an affordable way? So.
Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I think we all.
I didn't think anybody wanted to go.
I'll wait for that. Okay. Did I hear a
I
second?
still need a second.
I'll second. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all. I'm gonna have another piece of this
Yeah,
thing.
there's more food over there, everybody.